right, we are live here with Mr. Mark Mitchem himself. Hey, I just want to thank you guys for joining us. This is the 4th episode of the Full Send iRacing podcast, and I've just had a hoot doing this thing. We had episode 1, we had Mr. Aaron Rodgers, and him and I can chit-chat for a while, and he'll be back on here in the not-too-distant future. We had Mr. Lou Oleski, the very famous Lou Oleski, on episode 2. Nathan Jurgensen was on the last episode, episode 3. And now we have the beautiful voiced redneck from North Carolina himself, wearing the UPS ball cap, Mark Mitchem.
Yes, I stay in uniform all the time. All the time, even on my streams.
So those who don't know, Mark is a pretty well-known iRacing streamer. Focuses mostly on oval, but you'll see him running those road races every now and again and getting crazy in the Mazda cars. And his Twitch channel is Drunk Mercenary, and I'll share all those links here before and after, and I'll share his YouTube page as well. But he also has a YouTube page, which is actually pretty big, and because he dabbles in a few things. He's got there is an echo, he says. Uh-oh, is it still there? Anywho. But he's got NASCAR Rec compilations. Did I say that right? NASCAR Rec
Compulations? Yeah, you're close.
Oh, I know what that echo is. It's because Twitch is on in the background. There we go. Thank you for that. He's got, what was the name of that game that you're playing that Aaron just loved?
Kingdom Come Deliverance, and I think Lou's actually playing that now as well.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
okay.
It's a terrific game.
Of course, he's got the iRacing videos on there. Those are my favorite. Oh, wait, that's not my favorite. There's one thing that you stream that I love more than iRacing.
And Brandon's favorite as well.
He does Gold Rush, and for those who are not familiar with Gold Rush, it's this game based off the TV show Gold Rush, where he's a gold miner. And the crazy thing is, I've been watching this thing since he was dirt broke poor, and I remember
in real life, and in the game.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, I remember he was hand paling mud into like the machines and stuff, and now he's got these huge excavators and doing all this stuff. Hey, Rachel, we are sending it right now. This is about as full send as we can go for talking right now. All right, so let's hop right into it, Mark. Tell us about yourself. What do you do? And
well, I work for UPS as a delivery driver and have been working for them for 20 years. I started watching NASCAR in probably about 1992. My uncle used to race in, I guess, what is technically now the Xfinity series, but back then, nobody really knew anything about it other than it just went around the local tracks. But he took me to my first race when I was 9 years old, and it was to a track called Caraway Speedway in Asheboro, North Carolina, which is still operating, barely, but it's still there, and to an enduro. And I think, if I remember right, there was about 75 cars started that race, and they started them 3 wide, and they ran for 200 laps or 2.5 hours, whichever came first. And it was basically just a big parking lot after about 2 laps, and I was hooked after that. So I started watching NASCAR on TV because I found out that Richard Petty lived about 10 minutes from me, and his shop was about 10 minutes from me in Randleman.
Wow.
And my uncle took me to his shop and introduced me to some people up there when I was younger. And so I started watching racing in '92. Richard Petty's last race is, I think, the first race I watched live. And then I had to pick a new driver, so I picked Jeff Gordon, which I think I probably picked a pretty good one. And pretty much watched everything. I never really missed a race after that, except for, I think, sometime around the late 90s I missed a year. I guess, I don't know, life, probably teenage years kind of got in the way, and I kind of lost track of it. But I picked it back up and started recording them, so I basically got every race recorded from about 97 until 2004, something like that, on DVD. All the Xfinity races or Busch races and truck races and everything else. But yeah, that's just who I am. just somebody who likes racing from North Carolina. So.
Well, Mark, you already brought up like 3 huge things we could talk about, and I got to write these down. You brought up 70 cars on a short track on like a Friday night. Well, I'll talk a little bit about that. You talked about growing up in North Carolina, a little bit down the road from Richard Petty. And Zimmy joined the chat, and he says, Mark, one of the cleanest drivers in iRacing. We're going to talk about that later, talking about your progression through iRacing. And Rachel gave 200 bits and said, send it. And I said, we are in full send mode right now. We're not going to hold any punches back. So, Mark, I know your setup, even through the time that I've known you, has gotten better, like, tremendously. So tell us a little bit about your rig, your setup, and your PC and your monitors and all that. What do you got going there?
Well, I started out on a 25-inch 1080p monitor that was pretty old, and I bought a PC from iBuyPower that had I think it was an FX. It was one of the lower end FX CPUs, and just a 550 or 1550, 5550 AMD GPU. I can't remember exact specs of it, but it was one of the lower end ones. And just over the years, I've upgraded it to 1080 Ti now, and I think I got a Ryzen 1700X in it now. 16 gigs of RAM, 4 monitors, 3 1080p's, and 1 4K. And just I haven't bought anything. I haven't made no big purchases all at once. I mean, I just buy one thing at a time when I have the extra money, and just slowly put it together that way, which is the best way to do it, in my opinion. And of course, I think my most recent purchase was this mic, which I'm pretty happy with. Extremely happy with, actually. It sounds great.
Oh, man. Well, chat's already come with the questions. Hey, guys, anytime a question comes in your mind, just throw it in the chat, and I'll make sure to ask them at the end of Mark, and we'll go through them all. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, Mark, speaking of your setup, right behind you there, you've got a really cool little door panel. Who does that belong to? And 2, how did you get it?
Okay, so that is the 1998 track champion at Caraway Speedway in the late model division, and I think his name is Stephen Laughlin, if I remember right. I know it's Stephen something. I can't remember his last name, but I think his last name's Laughlin. So I was down there watching the race, and I used to go collect wrecked race car parts all the time. So I just walked down after he wrecked real bad one day and tore his car all to pieces. And I walked down there and asked him, I said, "Hey, man, do you mind if I have the door?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Take the whole thing," because they were tearing the whole body off of it. He's like, "Just take it all." He was pissed off, I'm sure. But so I grabbed the door and I hauled it out of there. So I got that, and I've got another piece of a car somewhere. I don't even know where it's at. I think it's at my mother's house, but I got it hanging on the wall at her house, just signed by another driver. I don't even know who it was, but got a hood to a car over there too. But that's the best piece I got, so I decided to put that in here in the gaming room.
And that's not even, and you have a Hooters Pro Cup panel too.
I do have that Hooters Pro Cup. I should have sent you a picture of that, I guess. But yes, I found that on the side of the road while I was out metal detecting, actually. A whole side of a car.
Wait a minute, so it was actually buried too? So like when you're metal detecting, it was buried?
No, it wasn't buried. It was laying behind a guardrail. I think it blew out the back of somebody's truck. So I parked on the side of the road, and where I went was a swimming hole that we used to go fish at a long time ago when I was real young. And it was funny because me and a buddy of mine, and we had went down there, and I tap a metal detector on my back. I get down there, and there's like a whole bunch of big old rednecks down there, and like their whole family. It was like one big fat guy sitting on the bank, like a woman of pretty good size, sitting there, and about 16 kids, all down there swimming in the swimming hole. I was going to detect down there because I thought people might have dropped rings or something. And I walked down there, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna get in their way. So I went across to the other side of the road and went back in the woods where there was like a tree farm. And we're just kind of walking around back there. I found a safe back there buried in the ground, which was kind of odd. Nothing in it. It was busted open. And I come back on the other side of the guardrail, and I seen this like big piece of metal there. It looked like the side of a car, and I was like, "There's no way that's the side of a race car." And I called my buddy over there, and we picked it up, and sure enough, it was the side of a Michael Rich. That's the guy's name. Michael Rich, side of Michael Rich's Hooters Pro car from '97, I think it was. No, 2004. 2004. So Ford Focus.
Still talking about your setup there. Alex said you got that cross by that window too.
Yep. That's my daughter's Bible school. I was telling Randy I got another one. My little girl come here yesterday, and she said, "Daddy, is that Sissy's cross or mine?" I said, "That's Sissy." She's like, "Where's mine at?"
Uh-oh.
And I said, "I don't know." I said, "I think it's in the house somewhere." So now I've got to hang hers up on the other side of the building. So
two good questions about hydro. Hang on to those, hydro. Keep putting them in there, and we'll definitely answer those at the end. All right. By the way, if you notice, if you flip over that cross there, the gradient and the colors on that match my logo.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. How about that?
Well,
I love that cross.
Well,
It's nice too when the light shines there. It makes a nice little cross on the wall,
Oh, and Zimmy says he loves the paint schemes that you do for your daughters.
Thanks, Zimmy.
Those are awesome. For those who don't know or watch Mark, Mark has a Webkins one. What's another one you have, Mark? I know they're like a light blue and pink and green colors.
Yeah, Shopkins, which is just a little kid's toy that costs way too much money. Oh, yeah. But whatever. And then I've done a Cartoon Network paint job because I like cartoons. That has Adventure Time, which I watch with my kids sometimes. It's just, if you've never seen it, it's just To be honest, it's probably a cartoon that potheads would watch, but I think it's funny. I
How
enjoy
dare
it.
you? I was just getting ready to tell you I love that show.
I mean, it's the truth. It's out there.
Oh,
And then
funny.
Metalocalypse, which is really kind of gory and dark, honestly. But that was kind of something I used to watch a long time ago. And what was the other one?
Yes, it's a good
Rick and Morty, which
that's one I never watched.
I enjoy. Yeah, it's out there too.
You know
so
what?
yeah,
That's probably a show that meth heads like. So
probably yeah. No, well,
let's talk about.
I see where you're going with that.
Let's talk about your iRacing career here, Mark. I mean, if you guys watch Mark's streams at all, you know he's a threat to win every race he's in, especially if he's doing cars at short tracks. He doesn't think he's that good at short tracks, but I'll tell you right now, he's one of the best short track drivers in the sim. How long you been iRacing? Well, actually, just answer that question. How long you been iRacing for? We'll delve deeper into after that.
Probably about, well, in total, I guess about 5 years, but seriously, maybe about 3 and 3.5, something like that.
Yeah. So that's how it is for me too. I race for 4 weeks on iRacing, and then I quit for 2 years. So if you go to my profile on iRacing, it has like a small blip where it goes up, and then just a line for 2 years.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, that's basically what mine's like too.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, funny story, we talked about this the first week, but Aaron's video is what got me back into it. But so when you first got into iRacing, and we'll talk about this later as well, you had some real life racing experience. Were you fast in the sim?
No, not really. Not near as fast as I wanted to be. I was pretty terrible actually. So yeah, I thought I'd be a lot better, but I was pretty bad, to say the least.
Did you? I mean, was there ever a time that your I rating hovered at a certain point that you would just find gasoline out? I mean, where you couldn't consistently beat guys?
I got to, I think, about 2,700, which is not bad, and it kind of stuck there for a while, and then I got above that and got to around 3,300, which is right around the time I met Aaron, and it stuck there for probably 6 months, and I could not get past that little hump there, and I finally got over that, and it shot all the way up to almost 4,000, and I'm just kind of hovering right around 3,800 now, I think.
Yeah. So, in essence, what you're saying is when you first started, you weren't fast, and now that you
when I first started, I was complete garbage.
Yeah,
I mean,
me too.
we talked about that. Like I literally quit for a while and then came back. So
I hope this is one thing that people are picking up when they watch you. So this is what everyone has said, by the way. Everyone that I've asked when they first started, they all said, "No, I was really slow."
Yeah.
Jurgensen,
I mean, it's like anything.
Now I'm gonna make
it takes time.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I was telling Mark about this before the stream, but my dad just picked up iRacing, and he's got a really nice wheel now. He just picked up a new G922, but he's got the old G25 wheels, which I'm really, really jealous of. But anywho, so he's doing that, and he challenged me to do a hosted session with him, and he wanted to run some hot laps with me in the street stock. And I told him, I was like, Dad, I'm going to whoop the pee out of you. Not because I'm necessarily better than you, but because I've been doing a lot longer. And he's like, no, you won't. No, you won't. I'm going to beat you and all this stuff. And he couldn't even get within 6/10 of me, and I'm not even that great on the short track. So he'll get there.
Yeah. I let my dad run one race because he wanted to try it out. And I set him up at a count, and he ran the first street stock race at Charlotte, and he wrecked, and he cussed everybody in that race out.
Oh, did you do it on the mic?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he did. I mean, he was just going off. He's not as reserved as I am. He does not mind. I mean, I'll speak my mind, but he just let it fly, and I was like, "Dang, you can't do that. You can't say stuff like that." I was like, "They will ban you." He's like, "I don't care." He's like, "F and God wrecked me." I was like, "Dude," I said, "All these guys are brand new, just like you. They don't know what they're doing, just like you don't know what you're doing." He's like, "I can drive." It's like, we're just gonna stop. I'm not going to try helping you no more on this. I said, here's American Truck Simulator. You drive this. You have fun with this for a while. Something, and he plows into people on that game too. People who are slow, he just plows them right off the road. He don't care. So yeah, he's not the best person to be playing iRacing probably.
Yeah. So that's funny because that's the thing too. When I first got into iRacing, and I dominated in the rookies because rookie's gonna rookie, and I got I think I had 5 races and I got 3 wins in the rookies. And I go on to the next level, and I find out that I'm hot garbage. And that was a rude awakening. Did you have anything like that, too, where, you were awesome in the rookies, and then you get up to the next car and you realize, oh, gosh, I'm slow?
No, not really. I mean, I did okay. Here's how I did it. I started out. I play every game. Every game I play from the bottom of the barrel and I work my way up. I never jump from bottom to top. I don't enjoy doing it that way. So no matter what I'm playing, whether it's a first person shooter or anything else, I'll start with bottom of the line equipment and I finish that equipment, complete it 100%, and then I'll go to the next tier and I complete it 100%, and so on and so forth. So my deal was, I said, I'm going to start iRacing. And this is, of course, after the first month or two, or the 5 or 6 races I ran where I really sucked and quit for like 2 years. But I said, I'm gonna start iRacing, and I'm gonna race rookie street stock, and I'm gonna go for the championship. And if I finish top 10 in points, I'm gonna allow myself to move up a division, or to the next level, which would be Legends cars, I think. And if I don't make top 10 in points, I'm gonna stay where I'm at, and I'm gonna do it another season, and I'm just gonna keep doing it that way. That's what made it fun for me, to make it like a career. So I started racing rookie street stocks, and I think it took me like 3 or 4 races. I got out of the bottom split rookies, and I started running pretty good. I could run USA and win, but I couldn't run Charlotte and win. So I kept trying. I finally realized, yes, in the street stocks, in the bottom of the barrel rookie street stocks. So I started running Charlotte, and I got better. I started running up front, learning how to avoid wrecks, because we all know you got to avoid wrecks in rookie anything. Well, really in anything in iRacing, you got to learn to avoid wrecks. But so I started learning how to run Charlotte. I got to where I could pin guys down at the end of a run, end of a race, and win that way, you know. And I moved from there to Legends, and I think I finished like top 5 in points there, or something like that. I actually won. I'll back up a little bit. I won the rookie street stock championship overall, like from everybody. Like I was number 1, won that. So I went and had an awesome battle with some guy named Philip. I can't remember his last name, but me and him was like tied in points for like the last 2 or 3 weeks. But anyway, so I went to Legends. Went from Legends to, I guess, C-Class Street Stock. Did okay there. Got cussed out a lot because I was constantly running to the back of people, you know, wrecking people. Not on purpose, but constantly running in the back of people and stuff. Yeah. Finishing terrible. But I think I still finished, you know, top 10 in my division or something like that. Went from there to late models, where I started learning how to try to build setups. I never got good at it, but I would download setups from Setup Sync and just adjust them, get them running good enough to finish top 2 or 3. Yeah. Went to super late models after that, then trucks, then Xfinity. Of course, when I got in trucks and Xfinity, I wasn't finishing top 25 in points anymore. I was finishing, you know, top 30, and I kind of adjusted my goals at that point. And then I went to Cup. This year was the first year I ran Cup, which really sucks because I missed out on the powerful Cup car, and now I'm running the really weak Cup car that anybody can run, or at least I feel like anybody can run.
Oh boy, and that's our next topic here. Yeah, we're going to talk about some iRacing news soon. This is probably the last week I'm going to talk about this because it's getting kind of old news now. But we are now into the new package, as we've talked about the past 3 weeks, starting with Aaron. We're running this reduced horsepower, increased aero A-car package. Now here's the crazy thing. Mark said he ran the original Cup car like once or twice. I think you did. Didn't you run Darlington?
No, I ran Pocono.
Pocono.
I think I ran Pocono number 2, and I think I finished 14th in it, if I remember right. Yeah. The second or third split.
Yeah. So
probably third.
So you kind of gave your opinion a little bit there. What do you think about this A-car package right now?
I mean, like I said, I don't have a lot to compare it to because I never really ran any. Pocono, your gear ratio is so stretched out that you can mat the thing and not get any wheel spin. So you can't compare it to any other track. I mean, you're right there with Talladega and Daytona. You just mat it and go. I can't really compare it to anything because I don't know how it would feel. Now, I mean, I did take that A car out before I started racing official races, and I would run it at short tracks like USA and stuff like that, testing it, you know, just to see what it felt like. And I would spin out constantly with it because I didn't know how to drive the thing. I just felt if I could learn how to drive it, it would just help me be able to drive late models and everything else a lot better, which is true. If you can drive the most powerful car on that game, simulation, you can drive the most powerful car on that simulation and drive it good without spinning out, you're going to really be able to drive the lower powered cars a lot easier, in my experience anyway, because you learn that throttle control a lot faster, you know?
Oh yeah.
But if I had to choose, obviously I'd want the car to be as powerful as it could be. That way you're showcasing people's talents, just like in real life. You know, you're showcasing the talent of somebody being able to to put the throttle down and hang on to it as it's sliding sideways versus just matting it and just turning the wheel. I mean,
Yeah.
so
I feel like and I've said this before, so we won't rehash that much, but I feel like the last A-car in iRacing was perfect. There wasn't much I would have changed about it because not only did you have to keep in mind the whole time how much wheel you're putting into it, like with the trucks and the B car, but you really had to be careful how much a throttle you put into it too. You really had to use that, that old saying where the string is attached from the steering wheel to the throttle. And if you didn't have the feel of that down, you were not fast in the A car at all. And it took a whole nother skill set to be faster in the A car, and I just miss that it's gone, and I'm gonna cry about it all the time.
Yep.
And the more Aaron can, the more I feel that way.
Yeah, Aaron or some of you guys might know better, but I'm not sure. I know that we got a different package at Texas, and I'm not sure if we had a lower horsepower at the beginning of the year or not, because I did run Atlanta. So we may, if we had full 750 horsepower at Atlanta, then I sort of know what it feels like. I don't know if we had that or not, or if they had already changed the car by then or not. So
Zimmy says, I can't listen to the rest of this crap game. Really?
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I mean, hate on me if you want.
Well, guys, we got some cool NASCAR news to talk about here. Mark and I were talking about this a little bit before the stream as well, but NASCAR came out and said today that Monster Energy would no longer be the title sponsor going into 2020. That is huge news. And Mark, I'll just let you hop right into it. What do you think about that?
Well, based on what they said was that Monster Energy wanted to be the title sponsor, but NASCAR refused that because they want to go to a more multi-sponsor deal where they'll have, I guess it would be NASCAR presented by, Monster, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because they think that they can, instead of selling a $20 million a year sponsorship, they can sell $4 to $5 million sponsorships and come out with more money. And I don't know whether that means they're going to alternate their sponsor or if they're just going to have a big NASCAR name right there, and underneath it you're going to see all these different sponsors, which is probably what it's going to be like. I think other sports kind of do something similar to this, so it's nothing really new, and it's probably a good thing to go. That way, if one sponsor decides, hey, we don't want to sponsor NASCAR no more, they've still got 4 other sponsors putting money into it, and it's time to find somebody else. So I think it's a good move.
Kind of like when Sprint was kind of in that financial issue there. And they said they couldn't do it anymore. One thing I really like about this too, about this multi-sponsor thing, obviously when you're the core sponsor of an entire sport, you're obviously going to have a lot of pull in what you want to see in the sport. Now, there's not much evidence of this, but I think a lot of that car of tomorrow crap that we were seeing in the past, even with still in the Sprint, was sponsors saying we want racing to kind of look like the racing we see over here, and maybe NASCAR too. But I think being able to split those sponsors up puts more control back into NASCAR than, let's say, sponsors and what they think they want fans to see.
Yeah, so here's some things that I've got a buddy that works for RCR that he used to work for Bill Davis. Bill Davis ran Toyotas before they shut down. So here's what he says. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, so you just take it for what it's worth, but he said that the reason they started running a wing was because Toyota wanted a more foreign look to the car. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I take his word for it because he worked for them and they ran Toyotas.
I believe it.
He also said that the reason they went to 750 horsepower was because the engines wasn't holding up to the new ethanol fuel they were using at the same in 2000 when they started using it like 2014 or 15. But he said those engines wasn't holding up to that high horsepower with that ethanol fuel because it was burning the fuel hotter or something, which technically don't make any sense because I think ethanol burns colder, but anyway, he said it couldn't hold up to that high horsepower, and that's why they wanted to reduce horsepower. But there again, take it for what it's worth.
Yeah. So, in the long run, you think it's be a good thing or a bad thing?
For what?
NASCAR. Well, us too. I guess us, the fans, really. Or do you
like with the way the direction the horsepower now is going?
No. With this new sponsorship.
The sponsorship. I think it'll be a good thing. Yeah. I think it'll work out good for them.
I think it's finally something we can see and be like, hey, they're making a good decision.
Yeah, I don't think as fans we're going to notice any different other than a different name. I mean, we're not going to notice a difference. It's going to be how much money's going into their pocket. And as much as we hate how corporate the sport's got, I mean, it's there now. It's got to stay there, and money's got to keep flowing in. That's just it can't go back to what it used to be.
True.
And survive.
Well, it seems like, and I think this is wise on their part, with the way they're doing this new sponsorship deal. And did you hear that they're trying to buy out all the tracks individually as well? It
Yeah, I
seems
heard
like
that.
they really want full control
Hmm.
over what they're doing. And I think this could be potentially a good thing if they make the right decisions. Again, they're not very wise to making smart decisions, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, hopefully that's changed some in the last couple of years. I think I mean, they have admitted, which is the first time I've ever heard them do it. They admitted they made bad decisions. So that's a step in the right direction.
All right, chat. Tell us what you think. Do you think this whole new sponsorship thing coming up is a good thing? We're not going to have one big sponsor in NASCAR, but maybe 3 or 4 main sponsors. Maybe NASCAR Cup presented by these teams, just like Mark said. What do you think? Good thing? Bad thing? Are you excited for the future? It sounds like they're changing up a lot for the future. Let's check it out. Now, speaking of changes, one thing Mark and I have talked about extensively since I've known him is one of Mark's favorite tracks, Bristol Motor Speedway. Now, we just ran the Cup race there, and I have to admit, I fell asleep again. I woke up, my fantasy team was killing it. Chase Elliott was leading. I wake up, it's too late to put my garage in, and I got like 2 drivers in the top 10. What'd you think about that race? Did you get to watch the race this weekend, first of all?
I watch every race, every single one, practice, qualifying, everything. I don't miss not 1 minute of content. So yeah, I watched it. I think the first 50 laps were great because it reminded me of the old Bristol because they were stuck on the bottom,
Yep.
and guys were spinning out and wrecking, which is no secret that I like the wrecks.
We're gonna talk about that.
Once it got, and I actually made this comment to someone on social media that I said, because they were talking about how good the race is, I said, give it till lap 50 because every time when around lap 50 gets there, that's when they start going up to the top. And you get this top line that comes in, and you've got a bottom line that comes in, and it makes for really good racing compared to everything else.
Yeah.
But it does not make for good racing compared to Bristol. Okay, that's the problem with the track now.
Yeah.
It's I see my beautiful wife is in here. Everyone say hello to my beautiful wife. So that's the problem. Bristol has pretty good racing now for the most part. It has long green runs, but it has a lot of good side by side, back and forth racing. But people aren't going to look at that track. Well, new people who are new to the sport will, but people like me who have been around for a long time, they're not going to look at Bristol and say, this racing is great because they remember how it used to be, where it was, bump and runs constantly. And I think I actually did I looked at Racing Reference the other day, or actually earlier today, and from 85, from 85 to 2000, spring 2007, there was an average of 13 cautions. There was no stage breaks, so it's 13 real cautions.
Man.
From, and of course some I think there was five races that had under 10 cautions, and only 2 that had under 9. Okay, from 85 to 2007. From fall 2007 to present, there's been an average of 6 cautions, not including stage breaks. So that shows you how much more, I don't want to say easy to drive, calm. We'll use calm. How much more calm the track is now. And I think a lot of people got used to the aspect of that place being, this is the only track they go to where you absolutely have to root and gouge your way around. You have to piss off your competitors to get around them.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice. And those 2 races per year created rivalries that lasted all season long, carried over to other tracks, and then carried over to back to Bristol again. You had guys that would be pissed off about something that happened at Bristol, and you'd have a guy get dumped 5 races down the road because somebody dumped him at Bristol.
Yeah.
You don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think that the track would sell out now, even if they never changed it. But I think that they'd probably still sell way more seats than any other track on the circuit, except for maybe Daytona.
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion on it. I think the racing's good, but compared to what it used to be, it's not. So.
Well, I don't know, because here in Michigan, when you go to local tracks, they're usually pretty packed out still. And I think one cool thing that Bristol had about it, it was your chance to see the best of the best line up and drive like an old school Friday night race.
Mm-hmm. It's a bull ring. Was a bull ring, yeah.
Yeah, and when they repaved it and put that high groove up there, it was just like going to watch Texas or Atlanta now. You can run side by side for laps and laps and laps. And Alex says maybe they're just driving cleaner. Well, I know
that's a possibility too. I mean, we don't
new drivers, they're kind of scared of each other.
Well, you look at how society's gotten where No, every little thing you do is magnified. Does a driver want to take the risk on saying, we've seen drivers at Martinsville still dump people and at other tracks too, and if when they get mad, emotions will override anything else you're thinking about at the time. You get pissed off enough, you'll do all kinds of crazy stuff. But nowadays, if you do something and the public don't like it, are you going to lose your sponsor because your sponsor's scared that you're going to put a bad name on them? It used to not be like that. It used to a sponsor car and they supported you no matter what you did, and it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, that reminds me. There was a story of a driver. I think it was a truck driver. His dad had said something. Did you hear about that? I think it was last year.
It was an Xfinity car driver, yeah.
He said something like 30 years ago, and they pulled the sponsorship because of that.
Yes, Lilly Diabetes did.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. Holy cow! Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. That's another.
Yeah, it was an Xfinity team. It was in Indianapolis when they announced it. Yeah, his dad had said, and the thing was, his dad didn't say anything that was really wrong at the time. I'm not gonna say what he said. He didn't say the N word. We're just go ahead and put that out there. That's not what he said. He said a word that I ain't gonna say what he said. Anyway, he said something that's really not a bad word, but it's kind of taken as such a little bit.
Yeah.
Why am I not drunk? Because I got to work in the morning. So anyway, yeah, he says, he says whatever he says, and nobody cares for 40 years, Right. And then all of a sudden, somebody looks up and says, "Well, your dad says this, so because you have his last name, we're not going to sponsor your car." That is not fair. Like that is the dumbest excuse. They wanted to get out of sponsoring his car. That was the main thing.
Yes, because
it doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's because they just used that excuse. Had to have.
Yeah. Well, this is something I'm going to talk about with John Theodore when he comes on, and that sponsorship being pulled over. I'd love to hear his opinion on that. Whether or not
I think he'll have the same opinion as us. I mean, I don't think he'll have a. I think he'll agree with me. That's just stupid. I mean, it doesn't make it. You can't punish a guy. Are you gonna lock a guy up because his dad murdered somebody and never got caught but died before they caught him? I mean, that's right? Basically the same thing.
Thought crime. Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Guys, I don't know if you ever get a chance to check out Mark's races. You are absolutely gonna catch moments like this. Mark, let's watch this, and you might have to turn your stream up a little bit here. But let's check this out real quick. This is just just something really cool that Mark did that actually made Ozcast. If I can pull this up here real quick. Sorry, guys. Let's pull this over here. We got to do this the old-fashioned way. I only have 2 screens. I know. What a pleb.
My wife laughs at me when she sees this clip. So.
Does she? Check this out,
she thinks it's funny.
Watch this.
White flag! Someone hit the 29. Someone just barely tapped. Barely down.
Oh, and he saves it. Look at that.
Yes! And somebody's wrecking up here too.
Oh, yeah, what a finish. Where'd you wind up finishing for that too, Mark? Do you remember?
10th.
Man, you had a beat up car that lost its motor. You wound up finishing 10th in that.
Yeah. Rachel was there. I had quite a few people in there watching that race.
Yeah, man, he saved that thing. They actually made it on Ozcast. I think it was the most recent one, wasn't it?
It was the second or third to the last video that's shown on that video. Yep.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 things we learned in that. First of all, you're probably one of the best drivers I know at saving a wrecked car. Second thing. We've learned this over and over again, but you can never give up in an NIS race, especially.
Right, yes, never. I told you this from the first day I met you. Don't ever give up.
That's
ever.
So true. You did.
Because you just never know.
Well, Aaron brings up a good point. That car was gone. You got hit in that regular quarter panel. That thing should have gone in the wall. And I don't know what you did to save that thing, but
I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy.
It was just masterful save. So, Mark, you're one of the best people I know at 1, avoiding wrecks, and 2, saving them when it happens. So what type of advice do you have for new drivers? And obviously driving in the rookies, you're going to be seeing wrecks all over the place. What are your hot tips for avoiding wrecks?
Well, like we were saying earlier, you have to have situational awareness all the time. You have to know where everyone is around you. And I honestly think that a lot of this comes from my job because they drill into our heads at work. You have to know what's around you all the time. We're moving so fast, delivering packages places, and we're not driving. Well, I would say we're not driving fast. We are sometimes. We're going through these neighborhoods at 35 mile an hour, which is probably way faster than what we should be going. But if you don't do it, you're going to be out there working until 9 o'clock, and somebody's going to be cussing you out when you get back. So they constantly tell us, know where everything is around you all the time. When you stop, know what's behind your truck, know what's in front of your truck. Never put yourself into a bad situation, and always leave yourself an escape route no matter where you're at. And I think you can kind of apply that to racing in a way. If a wreck's happening in front of you, back off and just keep the car straight and visualize where all these cars are spinning is going to go, and then just try to pick the path of least resistance to be able to get through them all. It doesn't always work, but it works more times than not in my experience.
Yeah. So would you say when you see a wreck happening, and this is what we
slow down.
All the time. Just
slow down.
Slow down.
I mean, we talk about this every Friday night. Slow the heck down. Don't go in there, and try to shoot a gap that's going to close up on you before you even get there. I mean, back off, slow down, wait and see where everybody's going to go, and then just pick what you think is going to be the best place to go.
Yes.
Right. Nobody wants to be hitting the back end because some guy's barreling through there at 80 mile an hour while everybody else is running 30 trying to avoid it. I mean, it happens all the time, and that's the best thing to do. I mean, just slow down, because once that caution comes out, it doesn't matter if you've passed everybody or not. You're going to go right back there to where you was.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're better off slowing down, ending up where you end up, and if you can pass them on the restart, pass them on the restart.
I've learned this too. I've had guys who just completely rear-ended me when I'm slowing down for a wreck, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And they'll be like,
yeah,
well, I didn't want the cars behind me to hit me. Well, here's the deal.
Yeah.
Getting hit in the rear end is way better than getting
hitting
hit in
somebody.
front.
Yes,
so even
absolutely.
if you take some damage, there's really no excuse for slowing down when you see it. And I'm still learning this day, especially running the league we're running.
Yeah.
You gotta slow down for those wrecks.
And it takes practice. I mean, you're not gonna, you're gonna make mistakes, but learn from them. If you went through a wreck, which is like happened to me a couple weeks ago. I think we wrecked. I was the first car that got crossed up running third place, and I saved it. And the guy who hit me, well, actually it was net code, like tons of net code. The guy who net coded into me, he backed off and let me catch the car. Well, he got ran into from behind, and then he hit me again. I spun out, and then I was okay for the longest time. And I'm not going to say no names, because I did get apology letters from a few people. Everybody on the top side, for the most part, slowed down. But here come 3 or 4 cars on the bottom flying through there. And my car was at the top side. Well, it spun right down there in front of them, and they just hit me, like plastered me right to the wall, and it put me out of the race. And if I hadn't got hit, I'd have been okay, and most other people would have been okay. I think there was a couple cars that probably hit the wall on the outside that wouldn't have been, but for the most part, I would have been fine. So, it's if you just slowed down, because they didn't make no positions up doing that. They ended up hitting me and putting themselves out of the race too. Just slow down. That's all you got to do. Simple as that.
It's really that simple.
If you get hit in the back end and spun out, that's the guy behind you's fault.
Well, it's better for the car anyways.
Yeah. Well, unless you hit the wall or something, but
yeah.
That's the guy behind you's fault if somebody hits you. I know nobody wants to get hit in the back end, but I mean, I would rather get hit in the back, than pile into somebody with the front. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Alex brings up a good point. Yeah, Alex, sometimes there's nothing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And, in going back and watching some of my reviews from the league races, going back and looking at them, had I maybe done 1 or 2 things differently, I still would have been in a lot of those races that I got knocked out of. Yeah, they most certainly weren't my fault. But if I would have driven a little bit more defensively, I would have been knocked out in those. So, yes, that's true, Alex. But I think for most rookies watching those guys, I think even looking back to mine, probably about 70% of the wrecks that I was in as a rookie were avoidable just by slowing down.
Yeah, and Zimmy makes a good point, too. The K&N series in iRacing, those series that don't have cautions, that does not train you to slow down. You have to keep going. So, you kind of have to just take them different, I guess. I mean, those races you have to just keep on booking it and hope that, of course, there again, if you fly through a wreck like that in a K&N series and you hit somebody, you're out of the race.
You're done.
But if you slow down, you might still salvage a decent position, even if you lose 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah,
so.
That's the thing too. If you back up for a wreck, the leader's going to gap you now by at least another 10 seconds, which is a bummer.
But and I've done it too, Alex. I'm not saying, trust me, I'm not a master at getting through wrecks. I mean, there's been plenty of times where I've done the exact same thing, and Randy's seen it in Texas. I mean, I was talking right before a big wreck happened. I said, we was talking about the same thing, and then what happens? A big wreck happens in front of me, and I just go right through it. And I was like, well, I guess I shouldn't say anything because I completely did the exact same thing that I was saying not to do. So
well, the yellow hadn't come out yet either, though.
Yeah.
By the time, because I think that was last lap, wasn't it?
Well, it was like with about 30 laps to go, there was 4 or 5 big wrecks that we kind of navigated through. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate that, Rachel. We appreciate you watching. I'm glad you're learning. And the crazy thing is, here's something too, Mark. Just what I've learned. If you want to get better in running in traffic, running guys that can run you tight without wrecking you.
Mm-hmm.
And that has helped me a ton. And I'm not bragging on myself, but starting week 1 in the league and running with you guys and practicing with the guys from Beast, there's like a switch that turned on. And now I can run guys inches door to door and not wreck them. And, and in doing that, you're a lot faster. I didn't realize how much time I was losing by just letting guys go. It's sometimes it's better to let them go. But if you can race them tight while you're getting past and let them go without actually just completely yielding, you save a ton of time.
Well, too, another thing you can do, if you're running and trying to pass a guy that's in front of you, and no matter what you do, you can't get around him, but there's a guy behind you that has made up a second on you, sometimes it's better to move up and let that guy go, because if that guy can get around the guy in front of you, you might be able to get around that guy too, and then you might be able to pass the guy that passed you back. Yeah. I mean, sometimes patience, you have to make decisions that most drivers don't want to make. Sometimes you got to give a spot up to gain a spot,
Sure. And if you want to get better at that stuff, I don't know if I should be doing this, but I recommend the league we're running in right now, because if you can avoid the few wrecks at the beginning, there's a lot of guys that can run you tight and hard, but are not going to wreck you, and it's a lot of fun. Guys like this guy right here, of course, Zimmy. Obviously, Aaron's going to run you hard and tight, but not wreck you. Gabriel has been the most fun guy to race with in this league, man. He is awesome.
We had a real good race a couple weeks ago, me and Gabe.
So, obviously, down below I have a link to our Discord. Go ahead and join up in that league. It's getting ready to shut down, but I'm sure in the near future, in a couple weeks, we'll have another one going again. But it's been a lot of fun. So, all right. Let's get down to some dirt here, Mr. Mitchem. I want to know your dirty little secrets, okay? Intentional wrecking. Have you done it?
All right. Yep.
How do you feel about it now?
If it's justified, I have no problem with it. I mean, it depends on. I don't think you really should do. Probably the best thing you could do is just let things go. But obviously, like I said before, if you get extremely upset, sometimes you just do things without thinking. But yeah, I mean, if there's a good reason for it, then it don't bother me. And I've had guys intentionally wreck me, and if I plow into the back of somebody, and wreck them, and they come back and wreck me, then I kind of deserved it, in my opinion.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Give me, I know for a fact, twice on stream. We won't talk about when, but I know I've seen twice on stream you dump some guys intentionally.
Yeah.
Go ahead and share some of your most egregious dumpings.
Well,
by the way,
first time I ever done it,
you because they probably intentionally wrecked you a few laps before.
No, yeah, they didn't gonna protest me because they probably get dumped out every race anyways.
Yeah.
But plus I got a lot of people on my side in at least one particular race I did. The first time I ever done it was.
Shout out to Snyder.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is I was thinking something. This is a completely different one, but anyway, well, actually, he might have been there that night, but so the first time I ever done it, it was at a road course. And a guy hit me in the back end racing for the lead. I was getting ready to pass the leader. He was behind me in third, and he slams into me going into a turn and just sends me way off the track. And I waited till the race was over for this because I couldn't catch him. I mean, he was long gone. But after the race, man, I didn't even slow down, and I plowed him and put him so far over the guardrail, he fell through the earth and landed back on pit road. So. And he said afterwards, he was a really nice guy. It made me feel bad because he's like, what'd you do that for? And I was like, dude, I was pissed. I was like, you punted me and racing for everything. He's like, I didn't mean to. I was like, oh, I was like, I feel bad now.
There are times when you feel bad. You know what's the worst though? And like I said, I've only ever intentionally wrecked somebody once, and I felt bad about it afterwards. But there have been times when I was going to intentionally wreck someone, But then I realized, you know what, I'm not going to do this. And then I forgot, oh, yeah, I'm streaming this live too, so I'm not going to do it. You go back and watch the replay, and it was just they got you on complete accident. You know, it's like, oh, gosh, I'm glad I didn't wreck that guy. You know?
So the second time it happened, and you were watching this one, I think, was where we was racing, I think we was racing street stocks at Southern National, or maybe it was New Smyrna or something like that. Late models for sure. Late models? Okay. Yeah. So we're racing late models, and this guy, what did he do? He just got into me going into the turn. I mean, just didn't even slow down. I mean, just plowed into me.
Let's get some context on this, too. We saw the guy's name, and as soon as we saw the guy's name, we're like, this guy's going to be trouble. Yeah. And you had even said, this guy and I have had some issues in the past.
Yeah. So, apparently, a lot of people have had issues with him. It wasn't Silvestri.
No, but, it wasn't him.
No, I'll say his name. I can't remember. The guy's name was Brian, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, but I don't remember his name because I haven't seen him since then. That
he's been gone for a while. So. But yeah, he plowed into me, trying to pass me, and then he didn't even give me a chance, just nailed me, and I felt like I almost saved the car, but I got sideways, and what happened was, as I was getting sideways, another guy that was behind me passed below and hit my front end, and I was trying to correct it, and it overcorrected me, and I just spun back up the track and high-sided it. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember if I went in the pits or not, but I waited on the guy. I pulled a Bowman Gray move, which is a local track around here that I'm sure a lot of people's heard about.
It's all over YouTube. Check it out.
Yeah, so it's all over. Yeah, it's all over YouTube. It's been on CNN and all kinds of media outlets for the wrong reasons. But so at that track, when somebody gets wrecked, a lot of times guys will go in the pits. They'll come back out after the green flags drop, and then they'll wait. And this track is flat, 2 lanes wide around a football field. It's tiny. Mm-hmm. But they'll wait until that guy gets back around, and then they will just flat plow that guy into the wall. If you've ever seen the Banger series out in Europe, that's kind of what that track's like when somebody gets mad. I mean, they will hit you in the back end and push you head on into the wall as hard as they can.
And it happens all the time at that track.
It happens a lot. It doesn't happen as much as it used to, but it happens. It does still happen a lot.
Yeah.
So I waited on this guy, and I was streaming. I told the stream, I said, I'm going to mess with him some. So I waited until he got right beside me, going into turn 1, and I kind of yanked the car one way and yanked it back the other way so it'd get a little bit loose, and just pushed right up into him and put him right into the wall. And I was trying to spin him out. I didn't spin him out. I was trying to. It just kind of pushed him up, and he kept on going. And at the same time, I was oh, sorry, man, I got loose, because I figured, I was like, well, if he wants to record this, I need to have something on my mic that says me apologizing and make it look like I did it by accident, So yeah, that's another time I've tried to wreck somebody. I wasn't successful, unfortunately, but he knew I meant business. I never seen him again after that. So
I've never seen him either. And we used to see him all the time. That's the thing. Maybe you permanently scared him off iRacing, Mark. Way to go.
Maybe. I imagine he probably got banned for doing that same crap.
Well, but, it was intentional. It was obvious what he did. It was on purpose. Well,
yeah. So another time I was racing Legends cars at Irwindale, and we had a guy that was wall riding, and I ain't bad. He would go into the turn, and he would just ride the wall all the way around the track, bouncing off of it,
Right.
And I was talking to the guys that was racing. We were all talking about it, and somebody's like, well, that's you can't do that and all this other stuff, and he was like, oh yeah, you can, it's not illegal. I was like, no man, you really can't do that.
Oh geez.
I was like, you can get protested for that. And he was like, yeah, well, I ain't worried about it. So I was right behind the leader of the race, running in second, and I think I probably could have won the race, but it made me so mad because he would come from way back, and he would be right beside me and the leader when we got to the end of the straightaway, and he was gaining on us every lap, by a tenth by doing that crap. And finally, I was running up kind of close to the wall, and he got up there, and I just turned the dang car right into him. And me and him both went over the wall, and he was out of the race, and he left after that. He didn't even say anything. And I did the same thing. I was like, you know what? If I get protested and banned or suspended for a week, then so be it. I'm not putting up with that crap. So,
oh, man. That's crazy.
But, yeah, that's the only time I've really done it. It's been, when it's justified, I think it's okay. But other than that, calm down and don't do it.
Well, really quick, I just want to say hey to Steve. Steve, make sure you tell your boy I said hey. Steve's son is one of my biggest fans, and he always goes crazy when I mention him on stream. So the funny thing about the one you were talking about earlier, though, is you'd this is the best part about the whole thing, is because it was so obvious you tried to wreck the guy.
Yeah.
Mark comes on over the mic, says, "Sorry, man, I got a little loose there," and the whole chat's just like. Hey, that's another thing too, Mark. You know what's funny? I don't know what Mark does, but Mark has got an army of guys behind him that would, no joke, fist fight guys for him.
I'm telling you, man.
It's no joke. They actually would. I don't know what it is about Mark, but it's probably because he's so nice and he's got that southern charm about him. But he's got guys that are ready to take bullets for him.
Where is my army tonight? I haven't seen either one of them.
I know. They seem like they've been kind of busy. So,
yeah, they had been on in a little while. Yeah, Snyder. Shout out to Hydro, who is, I think, still in here, I hope.
Yeah, Hydro's definitely a Mark guy.
Hydro has missed, from the time I started streaming, Hydro has missed literally only 2 streams the entire time I've started, which is amazing.
That is
amazing. He's 13, 14 years old. He lives in a border town in Mexico. And he is always here. Always. He was here in this stream earlier. I don't know if he's still here or not. He may have to go because I know he's got school and stuff in the morning. And shout out to Snyder, who is in Red Dog as well. Both of them always in there and willing to fight. I mean, they really are. They will fight somebody.
Listen, I've seen it. These guys are awesome. I've seen these guys. One race, it appeared Mark had been intentionally wrecked. We're not going to talk about who or when that was. But Snyder said he was ready to meet the guy and just pound his face in.
He was going to go to his house and beat him up.
He was more angry than Mark was.
He was mad, man. I mean, he was hot. And he actually quit watching. He actually quit watching me on the league races because he said he got so mad he couldn't take it no more.
Yeah,
so,
and it's
man,
true. And I said, and both you and I were both like, man, we would never do that over iRacing.
Yeah,
It's hilarious. He takes that personal, and I understand that. I sometimes I do too. That's, to me, it's a complete lack of respect when somebody dumps you like that. But isn't that hilarious? Yeah. I don't have one guy that would do that for me.
I'd do that for you.
There we go. I got one guy that would fist fight another guy for me. I'm gonna hold you to it.
All right. I'll probably lose, but all right. I'm not really a fighter, but I'll try.
All right. That's awesome. So I've already shared my story of intentionally wrecking somebody. Mark, I had a really fun conversation with Lou. I don't know if you heard it a couple weeks ago about when it's okay to move people, especially at a short track, when it's okay to put the bumper to them, not wreck them. It's never okay to wreck somebody. Well, we just talked about intentionally wrecking. Maybe sometimes, but iRacing says never.
Yeah, well.
When is it okay to put the bumper to somebody and move them out of the way? Did you hear what Lou's response was, by the way, before you answer?
I did, and I agree with him for the most part. I think I think it's definitely okay to do it. I don't even think iRacing wants you doing that, honestly. But I mean, there's a reason. They can't say do it because then everybody be doing it. They will try to keep it as easy going as possible. They don't want guys constantly wrecking each other trying to do that. But I think if you're faster than somebody, usually what I do, I try not to ever put the bumper to anybody. First of all, because I'm always afraid. There's such a fine line between doing it right and wrecking somebody, especially in late models and stuff. In Legends cars, it's different. In Legends cars, you can hit somebody and push them up the track. You can't really do that in late models because the fast guys' cars are set up so loose going into the turns already. If you barely touch them, you're going to spin them out.
Exactly. Yep.
So, but you ride behind them for a few laps, and so you want to come into the turn kind of a little bit higher than they do, and then slow down a little bit sooner, and then try to arc it down and get underneath them coming off. That's the best way to do it. And if you can't do that, and you ride behind them for a few laps, and you're faster, but you can't quite get under them, then put the bumper to them. But try to give yourself a few laps at least to do it. Don't just fly up on somebody, then immediately put the bumper to them and knock them out of the way. People get pissed off about that. But usually if you give them a few laps, give them a couple of taps, going into a turn or something like that, and they still don't let you by, you can kind of push them up the track a little bit, and most of the time you're all right doing that.
And that's what I'm finding out too. A lot of guys in iRacing, if they're holding you off for a while, they kind of expect the bump and run is coming. And I know right now if you come to me and you tap me on the first corner, I'm not going to be happy about it. But if I hold you up for a few laps, I kind of expect it's coming because it's the point now where I'm probably not going to let you go anymore, especially if I'm running up towards the front. I used to just pull over and let people by. Not anymore. But if someone puts the bumper to me after a few laps, I'm totally fine with that now. And I think I agree with Lou too. Anytime's okay as long as if you do it right.
Yeah, and if somebody's way faster than I am, sometimes I'll still let them by. For a matter of fact, I think this past week, me and Gabe was racing. We had like 5 guys in the in the A51 crew racing at Lanier in late models all at the same time. And Gabe came from way back and got behind me, and I was trying to stay out front, but I kept getting looser, and I finally just moved up and let him have it. I was like, there's no point in me holding him up, because, and I think he would have rode right where he was at and probably never would have hit me. I mean, he probably would have just took him. I mean, at least not on purpose. He probably would just finish right where he was at. But
Yeah,
sometimes it's okay to move people's out of the way because you might get that back. A week down the road, you might be in that situation, and that guy might say, "Well, this guy moved out of my way, last week. I'm going to give him that back." I mean, at least that's kind of how I race. I try to remember who races me clean and who does favors for me, and then I try to repay those favors later on.
Yeah. Well, Gabriel, yeah, you're exactly right. Gabriel's the type of guy, he's not going to do it. He's going to wait for you to make a mistake, and then he'll make his move. But Gabriel, if you're watching, in week 6 in the league, I'm not moving for you. And you're going to have to move me out of the way. And I already said right now I really, really want to win. Now that I'm out of contention, I want to win. So if it means moving Mark Mitchem, if it means moving Aaron Rodgers, if it means moving the Saint, Brian Zimmerman, I will totally do it.
You can move Aaron. It's okay if you move Aaron or anybody else in front of me in points. Okay.
I'm not going to wreck
him.
That's fine. Well,
no, you can wreck him. It's fine.
Because I've been wanting to get better, at moving people. And now that my dad's been running those street stocks, I can get to his bumper pretty quick. So when my dad's running hot laps, I've been practicing how to move people out of the way.
Yeah, I do that in the league a lot of times. I get behind some out of the way without wrecking them.
Just to practice. And I'm finding, well, okay, granted, I'm never going to get to Aaron's back bumper on the modifieds. I might in the trucks. K&Ns, at best I can match his speed. I probably won't run him down. So, yes, I'm a big talker, but I've never had the opportunity. I've never had to. So,
mind games. That's what you got to do.
So, don't expect me to go out and wreck the whole field, but I'm saying if it comes down to it, if I have to move somebody, I'm going to. But I'm finding out. So here's what I did. My dad. My poor dad was my guinea pig, and I've bumped him a ton while he's trying to hot lap at USA International in the street stocks. And if I could get to him and I could hit him before his braking points, it would push him deeper in the corner, and he would overdrive it just a slight split. And that's when I would be able to get around him. That seemed like I'd do it. If I tried to do it in the entry of the corner or in the middle of the corner, I'd put him around. Even in the street stocks, which are pretty easy to save. Maybe that's more him than me, but I'm finding out. If I got him right before his break point, which is hard to do. So, Yep, fun stuff. Well, before this,
I'd wreck my mama to win a race.
What was that?
I'd wreck my own mama to win a race.
Yeah, I would too. I totally would. Yeah, hit the pace car. I've been wrecked so much and gotten so many wrecks in the league. It's about time I hit the pace car. I seriously think I've made contact with every single person except Aaron in the league. Seriously.
I don't think I've wrecked anybody in the league too much yet. I know Aaron wrecked me once, and he apologized constantly about it for about an hour.
Yeah.
Trying to think if I've wrecked anybody. I almost wrecked you a few weeks ago. Close.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I was actually really excited about that because, again, like I said, a light switch flipped on to where I was running fast and I was running you guys tight. And I was like, all right, I'm going to run him tight. And if he makes a mistake, I'm going to go. And you did make the mistake, and unfortunately, you got collected up into me. But I was so excited. Yeah. I was like, I forced Mark to make a mistake, and I'm pretty stoked about that. And you're all over the radio apologizing to me. I was like, dude, I'm just glad I'm able to do that stuff now,
Yeah. Yep. It's fun.
That was fun. Let's talk. Speaking of wrecks, you and I have vastly different opinions about crashing in NASCAR. But you know what? A thought just came to mind. Your YouTube page is dependent upon wrecks.
Yes, it's I mean, so anybody who's surprised by me liking wrecks obviously don't know me very well. Has never looked at my YouTube page. So,
Danny says you almost wrecked me at the league in New Smyrna. I did wreck you once, Danny, and I was so heartbroken over that. But you and I have vastly different views on wrecking. And we just talked about Bristol a little bit and how you said you're disappointed the cautions are down. I actually do agree there should be more cautions at Bristol and Martinsville. But other than that, I don't want caution wreck after wreck after wreck after wreck. But you think that's a good thing, right?
Well, I mean, I don't want to see 20 cautions at every single track. I don't want to see every track look like Daytona after it's over.
Oh, geez.
But I think you need a good mix between everything. You need a good mix of side-by-side racing. And I've always said, if the car is on edge and guys are racing hard, wrecks come naturally. So, I almost look at wrecks as being sort of a meter to judge just how hard the guys are racing, Because, I mean, if the cars are on, like I said, if cars are on edge and guys are racing tight, then contact's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
if, like, the way we got it right now, the downforce is so high on these cars, they're racing tight, but if they touch each other, they kind of get a little bit of sideways, and they straighten out, and they keep on going. So, you know, I mean, it's all on what you like, but I would like to see I mean, me personally, you know, a couple spins in a race, and, you know, one, you know, 2 or 3 car pile up would be nice to see, and then a car backing it into the wall, you know, and then anything that happens after that, it's just gravy.
Good for the old YouTube page, right?
yeah. You got to keep the YouTube page rolling, although it doesn't really get a lot of hits, surprisingly, which is really strange. And I've talked about this. This is a completely different subject, but my YouTube page, for whatever reason, I see guys do the same thing I do that get thousands of views on the same stuff, and I'll get like 200, which is, I think, is really weird. But anyway, that's a subject for a different time.
We should do a podcast just on the YouTube. Actually, Aaron would be a good guy to have on that one. So maybe if he doesn't know, we can. Me
and Aaron's talked about the same thing a lot. So
I haven't cracked it yet.
It's crazy.
But I found out. Here's a hot tip for you YouTube uploaders. Some days I'll go 3 or 4 days without uploading a video. Some days I'll upload a video 4 days in a row. When I start doing that, like after day 2, my 3rd and 4th video will immediately within 2 hours get over 100 views, boom, like that. But if I wait and start uploading again, they crawl to get the views the other ones get. So I'm finding out if you upload regularly, they seem to want to push you to the front more. It's almost like they want more content more often.
Yeah, I upload one about every day. I'll tell you something funny. Speaking of Gold Rush from earlier, I had one particular video come out that really wasn't the most exciting video I had. Ended up getting like 200 and some views in the first couple weeks, which for my channel, you know, that's pretty quite a bit.
Yeah.
The one after that got 30, and it's still at 30. So it's really strange, you know. I don't know how they figure out who sees what. It's I think just occasionally they put one of your videos on the search page, and people click on it, and of course, you know, half of them's not gonna watch more than a couple seconds, and they're gonna click off. But
pretty crazy. So that's another thing. But we're back to this wrecking thing and how whether or not it's good for NASCAR. You and I have talked time and time again about super speedways, Daytona and Talladega, and you know, every time a super speedway comes up, I'm complaining about it in iRacing, and I'm complaining about it in real life racing as well. Oh man, I hate this stuff. I can't stand all this equipment getting torn up and everything. But you know, Mark just takes it in stride, and he'll post something in the Discord saying, "Man, I love this racing. I love the wrecks."
I do. I like sparks to fly, man.
So like that, let's talk about. You remember the last Daytona 500 we just had, where like 3 cars made it through the race without an incident. Like, did you like that? Or was that a good race to you?
It was an exciting race, and it was interesting. It kept my interest. Was it a good race? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'd say that was a good race or not. No, I don't. You know, I wouldn't say a race with a whole bunch of wrecks is really a good race. Yeah. I mean, you know, I think if you look back through the years, what a lot of people say is a good race is if you have a side-by-side finish on the last lap. Okay, that doesn't happen very often. Even back in the heyday in the late 90s and early 2000s, that rarely happened. You see tons of clips of it, you know, highlight reels, but you're looking at 1 or 2 races, 3 races per year. I think the reason I like wrecks is because it'll keep you edge of your seat. You know, if a caution comes, even if it's just a guy spinning out and you don't hit anything.
Right.
If you have a race that has long green runs, and even if they're racing side by side, if nothing happens, you're going to get kind of tired of it after a while. At least I do. You know, I mean, if they're not bumping and banging, I like to see guys rough each other up. You know, that's what's fun about it to me.
I like that, yeah.
And like I said, when I was little, that's what got me into the sport. I mean, that's my first experience with racing was seeing like an enduro with 75 cars that turned into a parking lot after 5 laps. You know, that's what got me hooked. So it's probably, I'm sure, you know, they say that things you experience as a kid kind of determines what you end up being later in life because your brain gets wired certain ways. And that maybe that's why I'm like I am, because that was the first experience I had with racing was tons of wrecks, you know, cars catching on fire and, you know, smoke and guys spinning out and, you know, some guy getting out and getting mad and punching the other guy in the nose and, you know, stuff like that. I mean, so yeah, that's why I enjoy seeing. And, you know, but even if you look at all of NASCAR's highlights, and I had, you know, Dave, his name Dave Moody, I think. Everybody knows who Dave Moody is. I argue with him all the time. He's on Sirius XM radio, by the way. If nobody knows who he is.
You call in and argue with him?
No, I argue with him on Twitter, which I don't recommend anybody follow me on Twitter because you'll probably hate me after that because I'm like a pretty negative guy on Twitter. So don't. I'm happy in real life, but I'm negative on Twitter.
Your wife says, "Lord help our
I vent.
kids."
Yeah. So Dave Moody, today I was talking to him about it, and I said, I don't think Bristol was as good as it used to be. And Dave Moody is the kind of person that he's kind of like me, where if he has an opinion, he's going to stick to that opinion. Doesn't matter what you say because you're not going to change his mind. And I'm the same way. You can say what you want, but you're not going to change my mind about it. And I told him, I said, for me, like, Bristol used to be, and we were talking about Bristol, I said, racing in general, used to be that, or NASCAR posts highlights of stuff, and every highlight NASCAR posts is guys wrecking and guys fighting and helmets being thrown and stuff like that.
Radioactive.
There's a reason why they post this stuff, because that's what the majority of people want to see, in my opinion. Now, this is all my opinion. I'm not saying this is fact, because but I mean, they've got smart people. They've done research. They know what people want to see. So when Bristol posts a promotion, why is it that the 4 highlights they put in their promotion is all guys wrecking, throwing gloves and helmets? Okay, they know what people want to see. They know that gets people riled up. And if you watch any race, when somebody wrecks and you got a camera in the stands, what happens? Everybody's jumps up. Yeah, I mean, there's a really good one of Joey Logano flipping at Dover. And this one guy jumps up and he's just, pumping his fist, because Joey Logano's rolling down the banking, getting torn all to pieces. And I'm, you go to races, the first thing that happens is like people may not like wrecks, but let's just say you don't like Kyle Busch. Okay. Kyle Busch gets hit in the back end by somebody and backs it into the wall. You're going to cheer for that. You hate, everybody loves seeing the guy that they don't like wrecking,
Man. Can I be real though?
So, yeah.
Kyle Busch has grown on me.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to move people.
He's a very talented driver.
He's awesome.
I'll leave it at that.
I don't like his personality, and I think he's kind of a jerk. But I think he's kind of playing the bad guy wrestler on purpose. I think he's doing that. I really think he's just trolling all the fans.
Yeah. And Rachel brings up a good point. 1979 Daytona 500.
Oh, yeah.
That whole entire race, there's only one highlight you ever see in that whole race.
The fight.
And that's the fight at the end.
Yeah.
They never show you anything else. The fight at the end and Richard Petty winning it. That's it.
And maybe that's why I'm not a fan of the wrecking now. I feel like wrecking now doesn't happen because guys are being aggressive or guys are doing it just to be, racy. I feel like a lot of the wrecks that are happening now is like Ricky Stenhouse running out of talent and hitting somebody's quarterback.
He's causing. If he wasn't in the sport, we would just have green flag runs every race. Nothing would ever happen.
And God bless him for trying to do something. But geez, if he's not causing a wreck every week.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, he's like you said. At least he's trying. We give him credit for that.
All right, Chad. We're gonna talk about one more topic here. But go ahead and post your questions for Mark now. This usually takes up a lot of time, so go ahead and post your questions down. We'll start going on those. We've got a few of them up, but there's one more thing I got to talk about you with here. We got Gen 6. No, we got a Gen 7 car coming out, right?
Yes.
And NASCAR.
We don't know nothing about it, really.
You don't. I don't either.
Not a ton.
And they're not releasing a lot about it.
No, and they won't.
Yeah, well, because you don't even know what kind of arrow it's got on it. We don't know any of this, but we kind of know what it kind of looks like, and I guess they want it to look kind of older school again, which is cool. I think that's kind of cool. But if you had your perfect Gen 7 car, what would it be like?
Gosh, man, it's a hard decision to make because I love the way the Gen 4 car. I'm sorry, I love the way that Gen 4 car was. I like the way the front end sloped down and you could get underneath another guy's bumper and move them.
Yeah.
But I guess really, if I had to pick something that I think would appease everybody, it would be basically a factory car. We'd go to skinnier tires, which would so they say this car is going to have 500 to 550 horsepower. That's their goal, because manufacturers coming into the sport don't want to have to build an engine that supports 700 to 900 horsepower.
Yeah. Not
to mention those engines are extremely expensive.
Right.
So they want to try to get it down to 500, 550 horsepower around that time, or around that area. Which with the kind of tires and downforce we have now is not a lot of horsepower. As we can see, we had Atlanta, Las Vegas, and there was one other track there that didn't have any cautions at all because nothing really happened. Nobody spun out. I think Kyle Busch spun out of Atlanta, but it was raining a little bit or something. But anyway, I would say it needs to be 100% factory body, 100%.
Yeah.
And
Well-
it needs to have skinnier tires. That way, the horsepower won't hook up. It's going to spin the tires.
Yes, exactly.
And if they want to put a spoiler on it, I don't know how they would do a spoiler. It don't have a splitter there, because there's nothing worse than seeing a car trying to avoid an accident, hitting grass and ripping the entire front of the car off just because he didn't want to T-bone a guy. That's the dumbest thing I ever seen in my entire. That pisses me off. Like, it really does. I hate. Every time I see that happen, the first thing I'm doing is tweeting Steve O'Donnell saying, "Well, there goes another front end to a car because you stupid splitter." I mean, it's the dumbest thing. Like, this has been going on for 5 or 6 years now.
Twitter.
Yeah, this has been going on for 3 or 4 years now, where a car is trying to miss a guy, goes to the grass and rips the splitter off, and then people say, "Well, get rid of the grass." Well, the grass has been there for ever. I mean, what's changed other than the splitter and the car is sitting lower now, where they can't raise the car up off the ground, because there's two things people are going to do. They're going to coil bind and get the car down low, and they're going to use bump stops. No matter what NASCAR does, unless they mandate springs,
yes,
guys are going to coil bind them, and they're going to get them on the ground. So they're going to be on the ground anyways.
Right.
I'm hoping with the Gen 7 car they figure out a way, because I'm hearing that they're going to try to figure out where it's like 4 to 6 inches off the ground, no side skirts, no splitter, et cetera, which would be great if they can. But currently there is no way to do that. So get rid of the splitter and put an air dam back on it. It can be done because ARCA does it.
Yeah.
Okay?
I would like that too. And I think I'm in almost complete agreement with you. Take a lot of grip away from the cars, make them harder to drive. I do like to see a real spoiler on there, because I miss the old days when you could drive up on somebody's back bumper and without ever hitting them, getting them loose.
Yep.
I love that. So I would to see a real spoiler of some kind.
Yeah, and Aaron got me to listen to these podcasts. So he got me listening to Mark Martin at first. Now I'm listening to Dale Earnhardt Jr. constantly. When I'm at work, I ride around. That's all I can do is just listen to the radio. And Earnhardt says, and I agree with him 100%, get these cars off the ground, no side skirts, no splitter. If they put a spoiler on it, that's fine, but let the teams do what they want to with it. If they want to lay that spoiler all the way back, let them do it.
Yeah.
If they're going to keep it at 500 horsepower and they're not going to be hitting but 160, 170 mile an hour down the straightaways anyway, the chances of that spoiler causing the thing to lift off the ground is pretty slim. Right. It could happen, but it probably won't, because of those massive, roof flaps they got now.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think that'd be the perfect car to have. 500 horsepower. In the late 90s, the cars had about 650. So, you're not that far off from what they had then anyway. And the racing was great then. Cars, they spread out, but they stayed kind of close together, kind of like they do now. But they were on edge. I mean, you've seen guys just spin out on their own and back it into the wall because they were, you giving it too much throttle. And they got to get rid of the side force. No side force at all. That has got to go, every single bit of it.
Yep.
I mean, you watch these cars now, if one gets sideways, and you take Eric Jones, for example, at Phoenix. Eric Jones blew the right rear tire, he got 45 degrees sideways, and the car stayed right there until it straightened back out at fairly low speeds, which is crazy. Like, you used to never see that stuff,
Yeah, I agree. It's really almost like take away any new design they added within the last 15 years,
And half of this is me just liking to see wrecks, obviously.
Well, okay. But I think a lot of us, and the chat seems to agree with you too, they're for taking away pretty much most of the grip. But if a car is going to be dependent on grip, at least make it mechanical.
It's got to be mechanical, yeah. No aero grip at all, except downforce is fine. If they want to add front and rear downforce, I got no problem with that. Cars had 6-inch spoilers in the 90s, so they had tons of rear downforce then.
Very cool.
But they got to get rid of the side. They got to get rid of that side force, every bit of it.
Very cool. Fastlane Rachel says, "Oh, she donated biddies," and she said, "For the great guest and the awesome Miss Mercenary 84."
Yeah, and I got such a great wife too. I'll talk about that for just a minute. We've been married 10 years this year. Our anniversary. She's gonna get mad because I don't know when our anniversary is.
That's a guy thing. That's not a Mark thing. It's a guy thing.
It's in the summer. What is it, honey? It's like June something. I don't know. But anyway, it's in the summer at some point. I don't even know when her birthday is. Like 23rd October or something like that. It's in October. That's all I know. So we've been married 10 years this year, and she supports my habit like 100%. So she lets me come out here, and we got 3 kids. Nah, I ain't gonna sleep on the couch. We got 3 kids. Actually, I have a couch right behind me. I can sleep. I got air conditioner and a heater in here and a refrigerator full of beer, so I'm good. 12th, there you go, 12th of June. So, Been married 10 years. We don't ever fight, ever. I mean, never. Like, not even little arguments, you know. So I think I can count on my hand how many arguments we've had. 3 kids, and she puts them all to sleep. In the evening, she comes home from work, cooks supper, puts the kids to bed, gives them baths while I'm out here, you know, racing for people. So, I mean, you know, of course I help her. I mean, I don't do it every day.
Yeah.
But she never says one word about me coming out here and racing. And I really have the best wife ever.
Oh.
I love her to death. She's
okay,
awesome.
so Mark, here's a dream that I have. Might be a pipe dream, but here's a dream. And then we're gonna get to the questions. But one thing I would love to do is have the iRacing wives get on the podcast and just talk about their guys racing. Like, how cool would that be? Your wife, my wife, Anna, maybe Miss Zimmy on here, and just talking about like, oh, those knucklehead man, and they're fake racing and stuff like that.
Well, see, my wife don't really watch me that much. She's in the house, and I'm out here in my. So you know, she don't see me too often.
I would.
But,
okay, so Mark's wife.
Now she used to race herself, so.
Oh well, then okay.
Yeah.
See, Jessica,
she can talk about that.
She was completely foreign to racing before me. I mean, never even watched a lap of racing, so she doesn't get it at all. So I would love to, if you're watching still, I'd love to have you on and Anna on, and myself and Mark and Aaron on. We'd have to be quiet most of the time though and let them do the talking. I would love to do that, which would be really cool.
That would be awesome. My wife is way more country than I am. She's from Arkansas, so.
And Aaron's question fits into this perfectly. Now, this is kind of a more serious question because, unfortunately, unlike some of the guys that are on here, there are guys that take it way too far and put iRacing before their families. It's a horrible, horrible thing, and I've heard some horror stories about that. So Aaron wants to know, how do you balance kids, wife, job, content creation? Holy cow. Anna will not be family friendly.
That's how you do it right there.
Oh, I missed it. Did you hold up a can of beer or something? Oh.
No, not really. I mean, I have great kids. You know, it's not that hard. You get used to it. You know, so I don't know. I'm pretty lucky that I have backed myself into some of the best jobs where I work. Which I'm about to change positions probably, but for mine, I've been working there for 20 years, and for my entire career, I've basically worked 6 hours a day and got paid a ridiculous amount of money to just work those 6 hours. And I get home at 1 or 2 o'clock, and I meet my daughter when she gets off the bus, and then I help my wife if she needs help. I ask her every day, before I come out here. I said, "Do you need me to do anything to help you?" And most times she says no, but I'll help her for a little bit. And I'll come out here and stream it. I mean, I couldn't do it without her. She does 90% of everything. I don't cook. Okay. I sort of enjoy cook, but I can't do it. So I'm a terrible cook. So she goes to work at 8:30 in the morning. She takes 2 kids to daycare, and then the other one catches the bus, and she goes to work and works in a call center all day long, dealing with people's problems, and comes home and immediately cooks. And then she gets the girls baths and puts them to bed, and then she gets the boy fed and puts him to bed. And I mean, she does it all. Like I don't balance anything, So I just, you got to marry a good woman. That's how you balance it all.
That's so true. And
I don't think Aaron's got kids, but I'm sure he'll learn whenever he gets some.
Aaron's got too many jobs too. That's the thing. The funny thing is, all the streamers that I'm kind of close with, we're too busy to be doing the things we're doing.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of time on my hands sometimes. But like I said, that's about to change. I'm about to take a different position, making a lot more money, but I'll be working about twice as long. So I don't want to take it, but for retirement, for my pension, it's something that I need to do, because I want to be able to. I want my wife to retire when I retire. If I don't take this position, then she's gonna have to work an extra 5 or 10 years after I retire at 55. I can retire at 55 with a pension. She can't. So this is just kind of to bank that up a little bit, or pad that, I should say.
Yeah.
So, but I'll still be streaming and making content. Just it might slow down a little bit.
Aaron says the wives make it all possible. That's true.
They do.
Now, the first time Jessica comes to me and she seriously says she wants me off iRacing and stop doing the streaming thing, boom, I'd be done in a heartbeat. But she knows I like it, and sometimes it is a pain in the butt. Let me tell you a story. Like 3 weeks ago, this is before I got into Beast, I had agreed to do oh my gosh, I seriously think I had 8 paint jobs on my plate that I had to do. And when I wasn't doing homework, when I wasn't working, when I wasn't doing ministry stuff, I was doing paint jobs. And she got really upset with me. And I told her I wouldn't let that happen again. So we put down a schedule when I stream and race and all that stuff, and it's helped a ton. Hot tip for you fellas out there. So
Yeah, we kind of do that too. I told her that I try to take Tuesdays and Thursdays off from streaming. Sometimes I still work during the day, but once she gets home, I try not to stream anymore. Thursdays, of course, I run NIS sometimes on Thursdays, and that's a bit different. That doesn't start till 9. She's in bed by then. And then Saturday is our date night to go out or do whatever we want. So I don't never stream anything on Saturday night unless she's not here or whatever. Or maybe if it's real late Saturday night after she's went to sleep. But I try to have at least 3 nights a week where I'm not in here.
That's a funny thing. I actually, when we moved the league to Friday night, I had moved date night to Saturday.
Yeah. Saturday's a good night for date night.
Oh, okay. Hydro wants to know, what is your favorite car manufacturer?
Chevrolet.
Fun fact about Chevrolet. I was born in the same city as Chevrolet. Right here in Flint, Michigan.
Detroit, right?
Yeah, Flint, Michigan.
I hope it was the nice side of Detroit.
Well, actually, no. You wouldn't know, but I actually grew up in the mega hood when I was little, and my mom moved us out of our area because McKinley, the middle school I was going to go to, they had so many murders that they had guards at the doors and they had metal detectors, and so they moved me out of there. But you would never know by talking to me. And then the funny thing is, when I got older, I moved back to that area for a while. So you would never know from talking to me.
It's crazy.
I lived in the complete hood for a while.
It's a shame it's like that. I mean,
Rachel's got a schedule too. It's just healthy because iRace, especially if you stream, this stuff can take over your life in a heartbeat, and it almost did for me for a second. So we had to put a schedule down for sure. Hydro wants to know, he's got the salt shaker. How have you been, Mark?
I've been doing pretty good, Hydro. Thank you. That's my buddy right there, man. Hydro is a good kid. I mean, really, and he's on your stream a lot too. And I think he pops on. There's somebody else's stream he pops into occasionally that I'm watching. I can't remember who it was. I think he was even on Aqua Phoenix's stream once.
Is it J-Bo? I think I saw
Might be J-Bo.
Maybe it's J-Bo.
Might be.
I'm not sure. Hydro's a good guy.
He really is. I've actually talked to him through Discord, and I mean, speaks very, very good English. He says he doesn't, but he does. I mean, he speaks better English than I do.
Yeah, you wouldn't even tell speaking to him like this, like that. He's fine. Yeah, we love you, Hydro. We appreciate your time. Yeah. All right, okay, last chance for questions here, folks. I mean, boy, we've talked about so much about you, Mark. I feel like I could write a whole book on you now.
What was it that Hydro asked very first? Something about Tesla.
Oh, let me go up there. Let me scroll back. There was some.
I want to make sure I get that answer.
He did say something about Tesla. Oh, here's another one from Hydro. Geez, Hydro. Can you walk on 1 million Legos for $1?
For $1, can I walk on Legos? Probably not, man. Legos. I'm telling you, I've having kids. I'm pretty lucky. I've never stepped on a ton of Legos, not that many, but yeah, them Legos hurt. So I mean, if they're all laid out and they're not like separated at all, maybe. But if not, no way, man. I ain't walking on anything Legos.
Did you see that video where that guy just set the world record for walking on Legos?
I did not.
Oh my gosh, it's so horrible. All right, chat. Let us know who your favorite manufacturer is, and Mark, go ahead and plug your stuff, and give shout outs to people you'd like to give a shout out to, and we'll start to wind her down.
Yeah, so I mean, you can follow on Twitch, as Randy's already mentioned it, drunk_mercenary, and YouTube is the exact same, and I think I have a Twitter account for drunk_mercenary as well. You're more than welcome to follow that. I've posted that into Aaron's Discord at least once, and there you go. Randy got it in there. So yeah, I mean, I'd appreciate all the follows. I try to stream as much as I can. I had a set schedule for a little while, but it's so hard to keep a schedule with kids and work and everything else. So I try to stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and then just kind of sporadically through the weekend. I know Rachel's got to where she comes in on Sunday mornings a lot. We always do like a American Truck Simulator on Sunday mornings and kind of jam out to some music and just drive around and have a good time doing that, just kind of relaxing.
I'm watching you minutes before I preach, by the way.
Yeah,
I'll have you on the pulpit driving trucks right before I go on to preach.
Yeah, so we try to do that some. Hydro, he's always in there. Hydro says he likes the Koenig zig. If nobody gets that, then you don't watch. What is that? Test Drive. Yeah. That's a very, very good show, by the way.
All right.
But yeah, so that's it, man. YouTube and YouTube and Twitter and Twitch.
Yeah. If you haven't already, guys, check him out on Twitch. He has an awesome stream. And speaking of inspiring other Twitch streamers, I'm totally stealing your heart rate monitor idea.
Please do, and I wish Aaron would use it as well. I know he said he was thinking about it. Please don't not use it because I do. Like I want to see how pumped up people are getting in their races. I mean, I watch all of yours and I watch all of Aaron's, and I try to watch other people's, but I try to make it a point to watch both of you guys because, well, Aaron was the first guy that I really started watching originally, and you know, I watch yours because you're always in my streams. So,
how dare
but yeah,
you?
please, both of you guys use it. And I got a great one here that if any of you guys want to use it, actually, let me get it real quick. So,
What Mark meant to say is
use,
that he's here for the content. It has nothing to do with my support of him.
Yes, exactly. Great content. So this is what I use. This is it's like $50, okay? And it comes with this thing right here.
Do it, Rachel.
It's really not that pricey. It's easy to use. It goes through your phone, and it goes through your phone, uploads to the internet, and then downloads to your stream. It's worth it, I think. I mean, it adds a lot to the stream, I feel. So I haven't used it in a while because the battery's dead. But yeah, definitely, please use it. Don't not just because I do.
Awesome. Well, Mark, I knew we would talk for a while, and the funny thing is, what time is it? We could have gone for more, but I'd like to have you on again, and we'll save it for that. There's a couple guys I have in mind like to be a regular on here, and that would be fun. And Zimmy, we need to be talking about possibly going here pretty soon as well. And
yeah.
Appreciate your stuff, Mark. Thanks for being a great driver and a wonderful ambassador for iRacing. And check out his stream. Follow him there. Feel free to donate some bits to him, too. He likes that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'll take all the money I can get.
And thank you for your bits, Zimmerman. We definitely appreciate that. And, hey, guys, we're going to call it there. Thanks so much. What is today? Today is Monday. I'm going to be I don't know. Mark, where are they racing next week?
Richmond.
Oh, are they racing the trucks there, too?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Well,
I don't think trucks are racing there this year at all, actually. I think the trucks are racing there next year. I don't think they race Richmond this year.
Hydro, that's okay. You don't have to donate bits, buddy. We love you anyways.
Yeah, don't worry about that, Hydro. Donate those fake bits, man.
Yeah, you never have to. We don't respect people more or less based on the bits, but it does show us love, and we appreciate that. So we'll catch you next time.
Here's a funny story real fast. Oh. So Hydro donated, when I first started streaming on YouTube, Hydro donated 10 pesos. Right? And I was like, awesome. That was like the first donation I ever got, 10 pesos. Mm-hmm. I said, sweet. I made $10. He said, no. It's like 25 cents. So I was like, oh, well, thank you. so that was kind of funny.
Oh, wow. We just made... Well, I can't even say how big that number is. Look at all those bits. Thank you, Hydro. All right, guys. So as I was saying, we're going to try to do a truck open probably tomorrow before the wife gets home from work. Thursday night, we'll be doing the NIS race with Davis, and at Richmond, that is going to be a hoot and a holler. And maybe, who knows, maybe we'll do a spotting for Mark or something on Sunday if he's going to run Richmond. You like it there, right?
Richmond, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Friday night, of course, we have the last week of the league race. And let me tell you, I will be in full send. I don't care about points. I need a win. I talked so much before this. I gotta walk away with a win.
This is an off week. So,
Biscuits.
No league race this Friday, I believe.
Aaron, can you verify this information for us?
I actually think we have 3 more weeks total, but I think this is an off week this week.
Oh, I thought it was only 6 weeks.
I'm not mistaken. And maybe it is. But I think this is an off week. Aaron can say whether it is or not, but I think it is.
Yeah, the biscuit sog. Okay, guys, but appreciate you a ton. Thank you so much for stopping by, everybody. There's too many to name. It's crazy. There's too many to name now, but I'll try to win. Thank you, Aqua, and we'll check you guys out in the next race. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, wait, you know what we need to do, though? Let's raid somebody. I can't leave without raiding somebody. The only friend I have on is...
John's on.
Yeah, and he's a beast guy now.
Is he doing a podcast?
Is that what he's doing?
I don't know.
He's running at Bristol. Okay, guys, you want to see some Bristol racing? Let's do it.
I hope they actually
Let's raid Mr. Theodore.
We'll see.
Oh, I always have to copy his name, though. Rate B. I give you a 10 out of 10, Hydro. That's how I rate you.
Hydro, you're a good dude. I give you a 13.
At least, out of 10.
What an outlap.
13 out of 10, that's right.
Okay, when we get in there, guys,
That was.
give him a... Just tell him it's me, Randy sent you. That's what we'll do for now. Normally I do an old school driver. Or we can, you know what, say Rusty Wallace. That's his favorite driver. Say Rusty Wallace. Let's get everybody in there we can. Show John some love. Let him know it's me, Randy, sent you. And so appreciate you again, Mark. All right, we need at least 2 more guys. Give me 2 more. All right, we're going. See you guys in the next one.